Hi, I'm Trista Crick. Thank you for joining Sports Pulse. I am here with NFL columnist Jarrett Bell to talk about NFL protests during National Anthem as well as Charlottesville. Jarrett, what can you share about Michael Bennett deciding to sit for the entire season during the National Anthem?
Yeah, I think it just kind of underscores the whole notion that Colin Kaepernick may be out of the NFL right now and has been a continuing storyline about his quest to find a job. He may not have a job, but the issue that Colin Kaepernick stood for, that kind of ignited the whole conversation about players protesting and having a stand against situations in this country and social situations, that is going to live on with Michael Bennett, Marshawn Lynch, Malcolm Jenkins, and other players speaking out or demonstrating in some form or fashion. Bennett, I talked to him in training camp, Trista, had a very long conversation with him when I was in Seattle, and we talked about his willingness to take a stand, and he feels like he's got this platform. He's a human being. Sometimes NFL players, like other athletes, may be dehumanized to a degree, and he feels like that's part of his duty as an NFL player to take a stand because he really cares about his community.
So I think that you mentioned this before, but that the message for Colin Kaepernick has gotten a little bit muddled.
The way it got muddled is that a lot of people took the method of protesting that Colin Kaepernick chose as offensive, and they took that as being something that was directed at the military, which he tried to explain later was really not his purpose. And Michael Bennett, one of the first things that came out of his mouth yesterday was, hey, this was not a protest against the military. My father's in the military. And so I think that was kind of what happened. It kind of spiraled out of control, and people thought that Kaepernick was anti-military, anti-patriotism, and then we forget about, well, what's the point? What was the purpose of him protesting in the first place? And it was about police brutality, yes. It was also about social justice, inequality, things of that nature. And I think when you hear a guy put it in that context, you understand, even if you don't understand all of the complexities of the issue, I think we know right from wrong. We know that there's a lot of polarization in this country. We know there's still racism in this country, and we're seeing things play out right now that just really are so appalling to so many of us Americans.
How do you think that Charlottesville and the events that took place this weekend may affect the way that society or public perception is about this issue and players deciding to take a stand and protesting?
Yeah. I mean, obviously a tragedy in Charlottesville, and an event that we don't want to see. But I think when you start talking about social justice issues and social equality or lack thereof, situations like that just really fuel the conversation. So now you go back and say, well, what was Colin Kaepernick protesting about? What are these guys protesting about? Well, we'll see something that happened here in Charlottesville, and it kind of provides an answer. Chris Long, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive end.
From Charlottesville?
Yeah, from Charlottesville. I mean, he was very proactive in putting his message out there and saying, hey, this is not the Charlottesville that I know and grew up in, and it's about right or wrong. And, Long is interesting because he is a white player, and very few white players have come out and spoken on some of these issues that many of the black players have come out and protested about. So I think from Chris Long's perspective, you really commend him for taking a stand and just saying, hey, this is not about politics, it's about right and wrong. And so I was glad personally to see Chris Long come out and take a stand, as he did last year during the whole Colin Kaepernick drama.
We appreciate Jarrett Bell coming by, as we always do. Lots of insight, lots of information. Thank you guys so much for joining Sports Pulse, your heartbeat to what is trending in sports.